What if I told you that the difference between a forgettable book and a life-changing story comes down to just one decision, and most writers get it wrong? In this video, I'm going to walk you through this step-by-step process to make this all-important decision for your next book. Now, my name is Tim Grahl. I'm the founder of StoryGrid, and we help writers build stories that keep readers hooked. I've also written 6 books. My most recent is the novel The Shithead, which has been praised by New York Times and Wall Street Journal best-selling writers. My partner Sean Coyne is the creator and founder of StoryGrid and is a 30-year publishing veteran and editor of best-selling books. We've cracked the code on what makes a story work, and today I'm going to walk you through that one decision you need to make that helps you write an unforgettable story. So let's talk about that. What makes a story unforgettable? Not just entertaining, not just well-written, but the kind of story that changes the way someone sees the world. You've read stories like this before. You close the book, you sit there for a second and just breathe because something has shifted inside of you. You didn't just finish a story, you experienced something. But here's the challenge. How do you, as a writer, create that transformation for your readers? Well, the answer lies in something that we call at StoryGrid, the non-negotiable. The non-negotiable is the core belief shift that you want your reader to experience from the beginning to the end of your story. It's not just the theme, it's not just the message, it's the thing that makes your story stick in your reader's mind long after they've turned the final page. So here's the simple formula that we use here at StoryGrid. I want to move the reader from believing X to believing Y about themselves, the world, or their place in the world. That's just kind of a formula that doesn't necessarily do anything for us. So let's look at how this shows up in famous stories. So in Pride and Prejudice, we could say that the reader is moved from believing that marriage should be based on social status and practicality to believing that marriage should be based on love and mutual respect. In The Lion King, we could say that the watcher of the movie is moved from running from responsibility and believing that brings them freedom.
Run away, Simba. Run. Run away and never return.
To believing that true freedom comes from embracing who you're meant to be.
The past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it.
In the classic story A Christmas Carol, we could say that we move the reader from believing that personal wealth is life's highest purpose to understanding a life of generosity and connection is the path to joy. In the Shawshank Redemption, we could say that the readers move from I must accept the constraints and injustices of oppressive systems to believing that through patient, persistent action, guided by hope, I can maintain my humanity and achieve freedom. And finally, we could look at books like The Lord of the Rings and say that it moves the reader from believing small, ordinary people can't change the world to believing that even the humblest among us have a great capacity for heroism. So you can see how each of these has a clear transformation. This is what makes a story powerful. It's not just about plot twists and beautiful prose. It's about what your story leaves behind in the mind of your reader. This becomes the through line for your entire story. When you're trying to decide what genre and what characters and what goes in your book, it all comes to, does it support this transformation? Is it moving the reader from believing one thing about themselves in the world and themselves in the world to understanding and believing something much better? So how do you find your story's non-negotiable? Well, it has to be something core to who you are. It has to be a hard-won lesson. So I've got 10 questions for you that will help you maybe uncover your non-negotiable for your next story. So number 1, what causes you the most pain when you look at the world? Number 2, what truth do you wish people understood that could help them heal that pain? Number 3, what belief would you fight for? Number 4, if your book could shift one belief in your readers, what would make all the hard work worth it? Number 5, what belief have you had to let go of in your own life? Number 6, what do you believe causes the most suffering in the world? Number 7, what do you wish everyone understood about themselves? Number 8, What's a lie that you once believed deeply? Number 9, if you could only pursue one goal to create change, what would that one goal be? And number 10, what truth do you stand by even when it's unpopular? Now, I highly recommend setting aside time to journal through these. This isn't something you just come up with all at once. You might find it after multiple times of journaling about it, thinking about it, driving down the road and letting it wash over your mind. But these 10 questions are a really good place to start because it starts getting to those deep core beliefs that you have had to work hard to truly believe and take into your life. So, how do you use this non negotiable in your story? Well, this becomes your story's compass. You use it to test every scene. Does this scene move my reader towards that transformation? You use it to guide character development. So, when you're looking at how your characters are going to arc and how they're going to change and the lessons they're going to learn, you can view it through this idea of your non negotiable. You also use your non negotiable to choose your plot points. What events would force your characters to confront this truth? And of course, this will help you craft the ending. How can you show this transformation clearly in the characters in your book? So let's say your non negotiable is you want to move the reader from believing that love is a weakness that makes you vulnerable to believing that love is a strength that gives life meaning. Well, this is going to shape your entire story. Your protagonist might avoid close relationships at the beginning of your story, and then early scenes would show them succeeding through emotional detachment instead of being connected to people. The inciting incident forces them to care for someone against their plan and against everything that they know to do. The turning point, well, their detachment costs them something irreplaceable. And then the crisis is they have to choose between staying emotionally safe or risking heartbreak to help someone they've grown to care about. This is how true storytelling works. By deliberately shaping your plot, characters, and choices around that non-negotiable transformation. So when you're developing your non-negotiable, there's a handful of quick pitfalls I want you to watch out for. And the first one is being too vague. So something like life is complicated isn't a transformation. You've got to get specific. What do you believe from the beginning to the end of the book? Number 2, trying to cram multiple transformations into one story. So, of course, you're going to have characters that make different levels of transformation, but there has to be one core shift. Otherwise, you won't know what to put in your book. Your reader's going to get confused. It's just going to be too much. And then the third pitfall, and this is the big one, is not making it personal. If you don't believe in this transformation, neither will your reader. It won't ring true if you haven't gone through that transformation yourself. And finally, don't stress about getting it perfect right away. Finding your true non-negotiable takes time. It usually starts broad and gets clearer as you sit with it and journal through it. You might refine it over the next week or the next month. That's completely normal because you're figuring out something deep that you understand and you're trying to figure out how to get it on the page. So developing your non-negotiable is so important. You can find these in all of the masterworks that have stood the test of time. Now, of course, finding your non-negotiable isn't the only thing you have to do. At some point, you have to start writing. And how do you write scenes? How do you actually get scenes that make your readers excited to keep turning the pages? Because if you can't write really strong scenes, they're never going to get to the end of your book and actually understand what you want them to understand. So this is why here at StoryGrid, we run the scene writing workshops. These 6-week workshops will change the way you write. Most of our students make more progress in this 6 weeks than 6 years of trying it on their own. Well, how can that possibly be? Well, it's because we focus on feedback. Every week, you're going to write a scene, turn it in, and get expert feedback. And the mentors and coaches that walk you through this writing are trained to give you specific feedback on what you did right, what you did wrong, and how you can improve in the coming week. Along with that, we put you in a community of writers that are all dedicated to leveling up their craft. We give you training every week and so much more. So you can go to storygrid.com/workshop to find out more about the workshops and see when our next one is coming up and apply to join us. If you want to just take these ideas and keep applying them to your own writing, I have a free gift for you. You can go to storygrid.com/checklist to download our scene writing checklist. This is the rubric that the coaches use in that workshop to actually evaluate scenes and give feedback. And I walk you through the 13 things. There's a short walkthrough and how to apply it to your own writing as well. So if you want to grab that free gift from us, you can go to storygrid.com/checklist. So finally, if you want to take this idea of the non-negotiable and keep learning about it, one of our most popular videos goes deeper into this idea. So that's going to be on your screen shortly. Click on that to keep learning about the non-negotiable and how you can write a book that changes people's lives and ensures that they pass the book to a friend. But either way, thanks so much for being a writer. Thanks for being a part of our community here at StoryGrid, and I'll see you next time.